Let's give it a start. What I want to show you today is behind the scenes of the Idea Explorer that I created. It's an interesting AI assistant that actually should help us in getting unstuck and finding other ideas and thinking a bit on different lanes, finding new ideas on topics. And there is a small first challenge that I would like to share. So it's nothing that we now execute, but imagine this scenarios. You have 30 minutes actually to brainstorm to find a solution for helping remote teams feel more connected. And there the question, what would you now do? What would you actually do as a first step? And how would you spend these 30 minutes to do this brainstorming? You maybe, if you want to jump in, how would you do this?
For me, again, just what will the problem be?
Yeah.
Then I will Google. Yes,
Okay.
I will start Googling, and put in there and see what comes up.
Okay. And then?
And then from there, I'll just see, okay, here is a few ideas, and then maybe I'll find another one or two keywords that I see, okay, and then just keep searching on Google. That's what I would do, and then write down and maybe copy and paste some text that I like, and then maybe put it in a Word document, and just collect the data and get the ideas together. That is what I normally do when I'm brainstorming.
Yeah, interesting. And how happy are you with this approach? Welcome, Archana, to the call.
Am I happy about this approach? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how I more or less do things, and also for ideas. I start with Google, and then
Yeah.
I get my ideas from there, or sometimes also from newsletters or things that I read, or on Reddit or wherever I'm reading, or just from newsletters, I find ideas. But the question here from the solution for the remote teams feel more connected. So this is more something specific that you will have to look in, helping remote teams. Okay, so they're not here and you want to make them more connected.
Yeah. And thanks for sharing what would be your approach. And I guess many would take this approach. Hey, Archana, if you want, join in. We try to make this as interactive as possible. So how would you actually do this challenge? You have 30 minutes to help remote teams feel more connected and come up with solutions. What would you do to figure out good approaches here?
Sebastian, are you asking me a question?
Yeah.
Okay, so I basically I jumped in because you are going to give a demo about your AI assistant. So I jumped in just to be an audience to understand.
Okay. Yeah,
That's
then
one.
let's do this.
Yeah, just to see, okay, what is this about? And another thing, since I'm talking to you, I'm just taking this as an opportunity. I have been following you on LinkedIn for how to handle loads of ideas, data with the help of AI. That's the primary thing that I have been looking at. And I was like, okay, let me at least understand how he goes about it and be an audience to the demonstration and then see how this can be taken ahead. Yeah, so that's how I'm here for. Professionally, I'm a coach. And so I have to, and I also curate courses for group coaching. So I have to script content for marketing promotion purpose, for teaching, mentoring purpose. That's one. And it's capture a lot of ideas and then float them by way of content. That's how I have to know. That's my relationship with data and how to better use it. So that's how I'm work.
Yeah, awesome. Then welcome to the session, and I hope that some parts of the Idea Explorer will help you also in these designing the sessions, coming up with further ideas how to work with a group together. Yeah, and jump in whenever you have questions. Let's make this an interactive version. And I originally asked in the beginning, if you face this challenge, how would you usually go about this? How would you try to find an answer? How would you try to find solutions? And let's move on. I show you some things that might extend your approach on how you do this, right?
Okay.
So imagine Instead of going always the same route of, for instance, searching on Google for a solution or maybe asking AI, imagine you have a specialist at your site who knows 17 different interesting ways how to actually work through creative blocks. And just to show you shortly, we go into some more details. These are some headlines of the 17 different ways. Imagine how would actually something like this help you? What do you think?
Inversion, my goodness, this is, for me, many of these concepts is not even familiar to me, a few of them. I would not know what is behind it all, to be honest with you. So temporal layering, contrarian synthesis, I don't know.
Cool. That's the intention, right? To show that currently we might use some of these approaches, but many of them are either not known, or we would also not know how to apply this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and here AI assistant actually plays its strengths because it can help on these lanes. Yeah, this is the confusion I wanted to install in the beginning, right? To say, hey, there are so many interesting approaches how you can look at ideas, and once you open this kind of worms, then it flows. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I want to know what is even behind these blocks.
Yeah, I can imagine. By the way, the same for me
Information
until I asked the assistant.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
What about you, Arcana? I hope I say the name correctly. Please tell me
Yeah,
how
it's Archana.
Archana,
So,
okay.
yeah, Archana. Some of the things that I actually use is first principles thinking is something that I use, but of course not with the help of AI. Maybe you can call it a manual process or whatever I understand about first principles thinking, but I don't know how to apply that with the help of AI, and I would love to explore that. And of course, like out of these 16 concepts that you have shown, maybe I just know two of them and I can imagine what a few others are about. But if again, if I connect this with how to apply this when you are working with AI tool, so I'm clueless about that. And to answer your earlier question, how do I handle data? Maybe now, currently, how I'm doing it is I'm just going with how ChatGPT is. So primarily, ChatGPT is the only AI tool that I'm using. Other tools, other AI tools are maybe a video tool that I use. Yeah, so these and Canva, of course, it also has AI inbuilt. So these are the three tools that I'm currently using for my work. And I very exhaustively use ChatGPT. With ChatGPT, the experience has been whenever I felt that, okay, this particular feature should be there, and it was there in a couple of weeks or in a couple of days. For example, if in a particular thread I'm exploring something and it gets like you have explored enough in that particular thread, so it later on it starts giving you error that okay, it cannot incorporate more data. So earlier it was like you have to come up with another, you have to pick up another new chat and then you have to feed again a lot of data there, which you had explored earlier, which you don't have to do now. It picks up a lot of things from the other chats if you refer it little bit of reference and then it picks up. So that's how I have been using it. But my challenge right now is manually I have gathered a lot of things, and because I'm I am in the coaching space for 5 years. It's a new profession that I have picked up. I was earlier a compliance professional, and over the 5 years I have traveled different coaching spaces. So earlier I used to coach young adults for something else, and the current thing is something. So there's a whole lot of exploration that has happened from year one of my being in this space. Just because I am currently handling a different niche, that doesn't mean that the exploration that happened in year one is totally useless.
No, absolutely not.
That's not the case. But right now, I don't know how, if I have an assistant to extract some relevant data in connection with what I'm doing, that would be like, that would be something very magical. And it will also be unique to me because I was the one who really explored that. And if someone helps me to extract that information for me, nothing, I mean, nothing
Yeah,
more
cool.
magical and wonderful
Yeah.
than that.
Yeah, awesome description. And thanks for the hunch also at what area you see a challenge at the moment. And then let's see how also this assistant might help you there. Yeah, really cool. Thanks for sharing this. So
Thank
let's move on a little. This is, by the way, the self-introduction from the Idea Explorer Assistant. It's a minute or something like this. Let's listen to this.
Hi, everyone.
Can you hear
Picture
it?
this. You know that moment when you're in the shower and suddenly you have this amazing idea, but then by the time you get out and grab a towel, it's completely gone? Yeah, that's basically the opposite of what I do. I'm your Idea Explorer assistant, and I'm like that friend who not only helps you remember that shower thought, but actually helps you turn it into something real. You know how some people are really good at untangling Christmas lights? I'm really good at untangling ideas. I've got this toolkit of 17 different ways to look at problems. Some borrowed from how Velcro was invented by a guy who got annoyed at burrs sticking to his dog. Others from companies like Southwest Airlines, who basically said, "What if cheap flights didn't have to suck?" But here's the thing. I don't just dump all 17 approaches on you like some kind of creativity fire hose. That would be overwhelming and, frankly, a little mean. Instead, I actually listen to what you're stuck on, figure out which 3 to 5 approaches might actually help, and then we work through them together. So whether you're trying to solve a work problem, figure out a creative project, or just have one of those "wouldn't it be cool if" ideas rattling around, just tell me you're stuck, and let's see what we can unstick together. What do you say? Ready to turn those shower thoughts into something amazing?
So just to provide a little background here, how this video got created. I asked the Idea Explorer AI assistants, can you please introduce yourself? Describe how you think you look like. So this gave the picture description, and please also give me a story about yourself, how you would describe yourself in 90 seconds. I gave this to a video AI tool, Descript. They created the avatar from this, and with the video script itself, the language was provided. So it feels a little strange that this is really mainly coming from the AI itself, explaining itself. Interesting. I like these really turning around the things where AI really shows up more as itself. It's quite interesting. I hope you like this and you got an idea in which direction we are going now.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, awesome. So then let's move on here. The Idea Explorer, what's the why behind this? It should be a creative thinking partner that helps you when you are stuck with an idea. It helps you to break through creative blocks that you might figure out for yourself at the moment. It also helps you to take a concept and develop this further. So you give it a draft of an idea, and then you become some more actionable next steps and ideas in addition. Maybe it also shows you, hey, here's a connection I did not think about. Another domain that I might borrow interesting insights from. And it also transforms what if moments into really concrete next steps. As mentioned, it has as a knowledge base behind these 17 different ways to synthesize, to work on topics. I got this actually from Michael Simmons. He showed parts of this in a webinar he provided. And I found this quite interesting. Thought I need this because I write a lot and I also design my courses and I would like to come up with better ideas, more ideas. Let me extract this and actually build an AI assistant out of this. And here are just 3 out of the, it's 3 or 2 or 4 out of the 17 things, like for instance, analogical reasoning, where you find something where you can draw parallels from. Or what I also use often, this contrarian synthesis, where I take 2 really contradicting ideas and look, what's something that's still in common here and how can I bring this together? Yeah? And this is something that this AI assistant is actually trained with. And this way it can provide you these hunches and insights on these different domains. And Now, enough intro and theory. I share with you the link here in the chat. This is a ChatGPT link, and it's a GPT where you should end up when you open this at the Idea Explorer by yourself. And maybe give me a short signal if you can open it and if you can see it. Yeah, you are nodding, Akena, and you on your phone, I don't know if it's working, and maybe you have a machine in parallel where you can share this, or if not, then do this after the session. But this should be available for all, and you can start playing with this. And I show you some things that I would do. And I go through one idea first, play a little with this idea, and then you have some time to also experiment with this, right? And this GPT is available also after the session, so you have whatever you need to play with the system, you can do this afterwards. Yeah? So
But how long will that be? Like for what
I
duration?
close it. I don't close it
Okay.
unless if I accidentally delete this assistant, but I also share the full instructions how you can set this up for yourself, so you are even not dependent on me keeping this open forever. Yeah, I share this after the session.
Okay, so if I understand currently, you want users to experiment this for solving some of their challenges. That's what.
Yeah. Actually, I would like to provide an intro that AI assistants trained on a knowledge base actually can provide quite some handy input and tool and a helping hand. This is a concrete instance here, the Idea Explorer, that I would like to share to also show, hey, build your assistants. That's actually quite cool if you do this, right? Let me start with one short idea here. I say to the AI assistant, hey, please help me to develop this idea further. So that's a starting point. Oh, wait, I'm not in the assistant. Here, please help me to develop this idea further. And now it starts interviewing me. Hey, actually, what are you talking about? Which idea? What's the challenge you have? What stage is this idea actually? And then it provides also some hints how you can answer these questions. And I already prepared one thing that I would like to ask just to not type all the time. So I would like to, for instance, ask, hey, I'm currently providing my 9 weeks learning ecosystem mastery program. And here I provide the URL. These are the details, what this is about at the moment. But I would also like to extend this more to creators. So help me with this. The stage of thinking about how can I extend this to creators is early. Please find me practical solutions, how I can do this. And what I tried, I ran the program already in the first cohort. I learned certain things from there. And what is the obstacle? Maybe let me enter here also space. I'm not sure what creators actually really need regarding learning and content. So it's a very natural description of what I need, what I'm looking for, a little structured via the questions. So let's do this. Let's see what happens. So it first summarizes the understanding, and then what it does is it takes from the 17 approaches to synthesize, it picks 4 that the assistant thinks are super valuable to apply. One is, for instance, and it gives it a weight 5 out of 5, so super high ranking, do a stakeholder synthesis. And why should I do this? What's the main question that I should answer? And how exactly could I do this? So that's one suggestion that I could follow. Or I could look at cross-pollination. Again, with a suggestion, reasoning, key question to answer, how could I do this? Or I could apply first principle thinking. You see certain hunches that I could follow through. Let's go with quite obvious one for this example. Let's pick number 1 and ask me at the end, where would I like to start, right? I would like to say, okay, let's go with 1. So now it goes a little deeper and describes me in which direction I should actually continue doing this. And this way, I can drill down from I have no clue in which direction I should explore. I get some first hunches. Now I could start in the dialogue with the AI assistants to explore how could I concretely do this? What are the concrete scripts? I don't go in all these details now because this is then now working with an AI environment in order to continue with the next thing. But what I might do is I might also say, please, let's shortly check here. Please show me all synthesis applied. What would you suggest here? So I could go here, show me all 17 approaches. And now it should go to all 17 synthesis approaches and give me even more hunches. So it just lists all the 17. I could now also say, please apply all 17 to my original idea and help me further with this. So you can zoom out, zoom in, stuff like this. If you need a description from the Idea Explorer, I could say, describe yourself, please. And now you get a rough overview about who I am, what I do, how I work, and what I'm not doing. So that's a brief explanation. You could also explain in more detail, and then you could do follow-up questions to the AI assistant in order to figure out how you could work with ideas. Yeah. So I hope that this provided an intro on, these are interesting capabilities of this AI assistant. What's the first impression that you have? Maybe open mic, and what do you think when you see this?
I think it's a lot of information
Sure.
to work through to start with, because 17 is quite a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's nice that in the beginning they showed you which one they put the weight on it. Yeah, that is because I think it can be very overwhelming.
Yeah.
Have so many. So it's nice that he listed for me right from the start, which is the best recommendation.
Yeah, yeah. And it's also an observation I have with AI. It can often be super verbose, and you think, oh my God, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's why, I'm with you. We need to somehow also instruct it to say, hey, do a little your homework and provide the most crucial ones. Yeah.
Going through this can take 3-4 hours just to for him to spit it out, but for you to really work intense with it, it's a lot of work then. So then I feel, oh, it's too much now.
Yeah.
Slow down.
Yeah.
Impressive.
I see this.
But he understands very well what you want, and that's nice because it's what you feed him, he will deliver.
Yeah, absolutely. Archana, what's your thought?
So I have a different view, too, for this. I feel it's apparently it looks like it has got it's asking a lot of questions, but then it's giving me a starting point of, okay, I totally understand that unless you have a lot of information, so that's the starting point of this, right? That you have a lot of data, you have a lot of information, but you don't know how to make it more useful in the context that you are really thinking to apply. So how I am looking at it is, for example, in the coaching space, a lot of the frameworks that I come up with or the cohorts that I design, it's from my own transformation journey. But how it goes is, if you experience something on your own, it's not okay, I learned something about myself, or I could overcome a challenge, and this is how I overcame it. You don't get to understand that instantly. So if you want to design something based on your own experience, you have to reverse work it, right? So I don't have, because it's experiencing something is a whole lot of, it's a different thing, and then bringing it on paper, it's another challenge altogether. So here I can see something like an idea explorer coming up with questions, and I pull back those answers specific to those questions. And by the end of, even I don't mind spending a couple of hours with it, get an entire journey designed for my audience.
Yeah, yeah.
Based
So
on, yeah, so it's making my own experience. It's taking it, helping me to take that experience to another level.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
how I look at it. And it's
yeah.
like a coach. It's like what I do,
Mm,
but at a very exponential level. So if
yeah,
I handle a client in a coaching conversation, maybe I can ask based on how the client, where they are,
yeah,
how many questions they can handle,
yeah,
what kind
yeah.
of exploration they want to go through. The number of questions depends on that. So here it's throwing a lot of questions.
Huh.
How well or how prepared I am to handle those questions, that's up to me. So
Yeah, yeah.
if I am someone who I can relate to those questions, then it's going to work for me.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
how
And
I.
the cool thing is, it's also about how you instruct the AI, right? It can be super brief, it can be super verbose. This is based on the instructions. And this is also something that I would show you next, how you build such an assistant, because there you could also tune it to your needs. And it's really what context do you provide and how should it answer? It will behave in this direction, right? It's all up to our instructions. So you got an impression, and you can also play with this AI assistant.
Yeah,
Now,
I think I already have a couple of things that I can explore with it. It's
yeah,
like
cool,
I'm
cool.
just waiting for the session to get over and then get started with that.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, have
Seriously.
fun. And immediately after the session, start doing this. It's really fun to explore this. One thing, for instance, that I did today morning was I wrote a LinkedIn post. And I actually, let me check if I can show you this. Yeah, it was, I guess it was here. Yeah. So this morning, I asked, hey, help me to develop this idea further. And then I provided, I would like to write a short intro on LinkedIn that today at 9 a.m. we have the session, or 9 a.m. my time, right? We have the session. And I thought, okay, how should I write this? So this is now in direction of being a creator, trying to write something. What are ideas how to do this? So it came up with some, again, weighted suggestions, and I found the inversion pattern really interesting here. And I said, hey, let's go with the inversion. So then it came up with, hey, what is if not you introduce the session? What is if I, as an AI assistant, introduce myself to the session? And I thought, interesting, yeah, let's follow this. And it came up with a draft for LinkedIn and said, hey, this is how I would write my own draft for the LinkedIn introduction. I thought, this is already quite cool. Let's do this. Let's develop this a little further. So I thought, please add the link also. And please don't be so shy in how you express yourself. Be a little more direct. And it came up with another version. And then I tuned it further and asked what can we else add. For instance, this join for €0 or dollar. So to also show, hey, there is no paywall here when you can join for free, all good, right? And then it came up with cool ideas. And then I thought, yeah, but what if you also add a picture for yourself from yourself? And it came up with the first version of itself as a picture. Wait, let me scroll a bit. Sorry. This was the first one here. So the Explorer AI thing on LinkedIn. And I thought, okay, but we saw this video earlier where you saw the woman talking, and I thought, no, it should be close to this one. And I gave it this image and said, make it cartoon style, but please use this image. And it came up with this one already in this direction. I thought, yeah, this is cool, but there's still something missing. And I asked, develop this idea further, and it came up with this one. Hey, I'm the first time as an AI assistant on LinkedIn. I introduce myself. I'm a little shy. First day on LinkedIn. Wish me luck. So something like this as the headline for the post today. So you see how the Idea Explorer itself can help you developing small concepts forward. Yeah.
It's very cute.
Yeah. And this was for me like, cool, okay. This is how it would introduce itself and then also to generate these images. So quite some capabilities already. And what I can immediately see is it helps me to really drive something I would like to express and include certain other dimensions that I maybe would not think of. And it gives me maybe explore this direction, maybe think about this area. And it really propels the idea space in another dimension, and it gets me out of my, I do it always like this pattern, right? So it gives me new patterns where I can evolve. Yeah. So 2 examples. This is actually the picture evolution. Question for you, would you like to play 5 minutes with the AI assistants by yourself and experiment a bit? Yeah? Then let's give it 5 minutes. I give some music also in here and experiment a bit. Do some questions, restart it, do another thing, also ask for describe yourself and stuff like this, just to get a little feeling on how this works. And we see each other back in 5 minutes, so about 9:43 or something like this.
Yeah.
Cool. Have fun?
Before that, is it okay if I ask you a question?
Yeah, do so.
Okay, so a question here is, what I understand is you have this AI wherein you already have these 17 principles or 17
Yeah.
things that are there inside the AI. But how is it different if I don't use this bot that you have created, and if I focus only on ChatGPT, and if I, for example, if I pick up one of the theories first, fundamental principles, how would the responses be different?
I would say try this. If you give it a concrete hunch that it should use the first principle thinking, then likely the outcome will be quite comparable. But most people even don't know about there is a first principle I can apply. And there
Yeah.
it's more guided when you use a knowledge base that is actually tailored to
Yeah,
the
yeah.
ideation. But if you already feed it with enough context and knowledge what synthesis method it should use, the outcome will be very equal. Yeah.
Yeah, got
Yeah.
it, got it. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's yeah, and another thing is first principles may not be the best principle
Yeah,
for a particular
exactly.
thing that I'm,
Exactly. So there is
yeah, so
also the
it's kind of,
selection approach in there, providing new suggestions. Then it's
yeah.
also a workflow. I have the suggestion, what is the next step? And these are some things we see in the next slide in some of the instructions on how the assistant works. And there's a difference to standard prompting on ChatGPT, for sure.
Okay, got it. Okay,
So
so
now play around 2-3 minutes,
Yeah.
have fun doing some prompts with the AI assistant, and then we continue. So about half a minute left.
Yeah.
So I hope you got some impressions what you can do with this, right? It should just be a starting point to then invest a little more, explore a little more. And also if you play with this and have some questions, feel invited to send me a direct message or ask me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to also explore this further and explain more and also bounce ideas if you want, so on topics. Now, I would like to continue shortly to also show a little behind the scenes, because one intention is understand AI assistants are an interesting concept to look at. Yeah. And what you see here is, and I will share this also as a document in the after the session, there's a complete knowledge base behind that is actually configured with the assistant itself, and it defines the certain synthesis approaches that are available, then how to make this actionable, and a lot of details about actually how should such an idea explorer know its stuff, where does it come from, and quite a lot to read. Always the synthesis approaches are also with examples here, so you might even ask your assistant, can you give me examples for this approach that you use, right? Then you also can understand more of how it's thinking and what's behind this. And actually, looking at the assistant itself, when you go into GPT, I zoomed in here and I go to, and only I can do this at the moment, but I share you all these instructions later on. If I go to edit GPT, it shows me now how it's built. And here you have name, description, stuff like this, and instructions what it should do. And you will see these instructions later on. You can study this, but just to show you, these instructions show how this AI assistant should behave. And it also has here a knowledge base, the idea synthesis. This is the document that I just showed you, and another one that's used. And I give it these conversation starters here that actually show what to do. So to build, if you have a pro version of ChatGPT, you can build these GPTs by yourself.
What version?
You need the paid version, the entry paid version from ChatGPT. Then you can build these GPTs. And to build such a GPT, once you get into the mechanics, it's super simple and fast, yeah, to do. If you can provide your knowledge, if you have a basic understanding on how to create a GPT, you can do this in 5 minutes. And then you need to train a bit, iterate, see is it working in a direction, tune the instructions a bit, stuff like this. But I would like to remove the barrier of creating these assistants because it's already so simple from the setup, and it helps you so much because you do not have to prompt all that stuff all over again. You do not have to provide your knowledge base in each new start and stuff like this. It makes life far more easier, as you maybe already experienced with this one assistant that I shared. By the way, I work with about 16 different assistants that help me in all different dimensions of running my business, developing things, stuff like this. It's quite cool how much you can delegate and work with this. And zooming out, it's also that I embed these assistants you see here, the Idea Explorer, and what you see overall. This is a program that I developed. It's called Learning Ecosystem Mastery. And it's actually 9 weeks where we start from a point of, hey, when I learn something new, when I explore something new, what's my mindset and belief set? Arcana, this goes in direction of coaching, understanding, maybe there are limiting beliefs. How can we open this? How we can really rediscover the joy, the happiness that also can come through, hey, this is a cool experience. I can learn something new. I can explore a topic, right? And in the system, we work with Langdong. That's a really cool AI environment where you have access to different large language models, and I can explore with this. And we built in these 9 weeks a complete knowledge system where you can feed in all your ideas, all your topics, all your sources. You have a structure how to organize this. There is an approach how to distill this. Like for instance, this knowledge base that I showed you that is given to the AI assistants, that's actually a distilled version from several other sources that I learned through, and then I extracted what is the core, what's the important part, so that I can give this to an AI assistant that it knows the knowledge, right? And the express part is really get it out, do something, create something new, run your project, create the outcomes. And in the third stage of these 9 weeks, we implement a really advanced AI layer on top of our knowledge. This is then deep details about how to create AI assistants, thinking AI first, tuning your workflow so you can plug in AI assistants at certain stages and really leverage your knowledge base that you built before on a completely new dimensions, because AI can amplify our knowledge once we externalize this. If you would like to know more about this, or if you know someone for whom this might be interesting, I added a link here that you can scan. And important, I start with my second cohort on July 23rd, currently with an early bird discount active. This as a zooming out perspective, how AI assistants are created and how you can really leverage building your knowledge base and learn and apply and work with information on a completely new level. Yeah. So zooming out here, time for your questions. What would you like to explore? What is important now before we close the session?
Sebastian, I want to know are you still, what do you prefer now? This ChatGPT or this AI assistants or the Obsidian with the second brain, or do you use both of them, or which do you find better?
I use all of it, and I can explain you in which direction. So Obsidian, there I store all my knowledge. There I externalize all my source. There are all my projects information in there. So it's for what you say in the beginning, starting with the Word document. I do this as a node inside Obsidian. with the huge advantage I can connect it to other nodes. I can start building more and more building blocks inside my Obsidian. Then I use at the moment LangDoc as my favorite AI platform. Why? Because it gives me access to ChatGPT, to Claude, to Gemini, and it can hold the assistants in a really good way. And it also now in the beta version is not yet official, but it allows me to work with workflows. Send an email to these people or give me a summary of my emails each morning, 6 a.m. All that stuff is now already possible inside LangDoc. So quite a powerful, cool environment. But you can use these AI assistants easily also with ChatGPT or with Claude or with Gemini. So I provide you descriptions or instructions where this is super simple. So, but my stack is Obsidian, LangDoc, and these are the two central software pieces that I use at the moment.
Because when I look at now what you explain with the AI assistant on ChatGPT, it looks like also can feed them documents.
Yes.
And it stays there.
Yeah.
And that's
this is what I'm doing.
And that's
this is what I'm doing.
17 different. How many assistants do you have on ChatGPT?
I use LangDoc for my assistants. There I have about 60 something assistants at the moment.
16, yeah.
60.
Oh, 60. Wow.
Yeah. And these are really, I do them very fine-grained. I do not use all of them all the time. Some are super specialized, some are very generic, but currently it's about 60. And for all my business aspects, I use them because they are super helpful. Like small or maybe already a bigger team now.
Okay.
And happy to explain more, Boo, whenever you would like. And the learning ecosystem program is about building that, understanding all these connections. How do you create your knowledge base? How do you connect this then with AI, stuff like this? Because it's not something from a starter point to do in a day. There you need some background how to do this. But once you have this overview, then it's comparable, easy to maintain and build this. Yeah. But like with every learning, it has a little learning curve in the beginning. What else is important for today? What would you like to ask? Use the time. I'm here.
Yeah, I don't have the paid version for ChatGPT, so it's interesting to, maybe explore a little bit how to build this assistance. Could be helpful. Yeah, then it's custom made for you.
Yeah.
For information. Yeah.
And you can give it your Word documents, for instance, maybe as a PDF export there. I don't know if it can read plain Word documents, maybe, but if not, export as a PDF. And then experiment with this because you have, judging from your writings and your beautiful newsletter, there are plenty of cool sources that you could give to AI, also to ideate further, come up with further interesting thoughts. So, for instance, if you would feed it your newsletters, and then you can explore completely new dimensions with these newsletters. What can you do with this? Can you bundle this differently and stuff like this?
Yeah. I have feeded this, so I'm building now my mini book.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm in the process, so I'll finish it maybe if not this week, next week. But yeah, one other question is I bought a new subscription on Microsoft, and then I got the Copilot, and that's also pretty amazing, the Copilot. And one of your posts, you were saying that you put in, or you can link or you plug in the Copilot by your Obsidian. Is that
that's a different Copilot. That's a different thing. So there is an AI directly for Obsidian. It's called Obsidian Copilot. The name is confusing because you could confuse it with the Microsoft Copilot, but these are two different things.
Oh, it's not the same. Okay.
No.
Okay. Yeah, I asked you the question, but I think you missed that comment. Yeah.
This can be. Yeah, I'm sorry for this.
Problem. Yeah. Oh, so it's different. Yeah, it was for me because, like you say, the same name. I actually don't know how they get away with it then. Okay.
If you use Obsidian, then the Obsidian Copilot is super powerful, really cool thing, but it costs a little more money than to use this on a day-by-day basis. That's why the LangDoc is the more price neutral, better version. Yeah.
Better value. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So, Jenna, something from you would like to bring in?
Yeah, so I'm just trying to understand here what's the outcome of the cohort is you get your own AI bot. I
Uh,
get by
You
the
get a
end of the
whole
cohort.
learning system. You get a whole learning system. So this includes you have an Obsidian learning base set up for yourself. During the session or during the 9 weeks, you get 10 AI assistants and you also build your own AI assistant. So you get this setup of how to do this, how to work with instructions, how to design stuff like this. And you work all the time with AI throughout this program. So that's, I would say, quite a fundamental shift of how you work with information and how you learn. And super immersive. So while you learn, you apply, you all have all the material. You can also work all the time with all the material. It's also available after the 9 weeks, so you can still iterate, do much of the things. So it's, I would say, really an upgrade to the way how I work or how you work with information. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. How I can look at it is by the end of the cohort, I get if I want to have my own bot created, that's one thing that I can do.
Yeah,
Another is I
absolutely.
buy for to create that I get to use all your AI
Yeah.
ecosystem, which
Yeah.
otherwise, if I think of doing it without you, is I'll have to first thing I'll have to subscribe for all of them, and I won't even know how to use it. That's
Yeah.
where you come in, like you
Yeah,
provide that
absolutely.
hand holding, right,
Yeah,
to how to go about it. And
Yeah.
as a consequence, maybe as a side effect is what I also understand how to organize my information and data better and how to use it better. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's also happens. And is it that once I create this AI bot after by the end of I don't need the pro subscription of ChatGPT
You
to
can use
maintain that?
you can use the assistants that I shared today without the Pro subscription. As soon as you would like to create your own AI assistants, then you need a paid subscription.
The pro version, is
Yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Because
that's
I
the,
have a paid version, but the
but this should work then. This should
preliminary,
work.
it's not a pro,
Now, then
not a
if you have
pro
a paid
version.
version from ChatGPT, then you should be able to build your own assistants. This should work.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay. Got it.
Cool.
Got it. Yeah.
If you are interested in also getting the instructions and details how to create such an assistant, maybe shortly write this in the chat, because then I know, okay, I can send this to you, because what I plan is I bundle this session, the detailed instructions, the slides, and also the link to the AI assistants, so you can download this. So if this is interesting for you, let me know. This is at least an indicator for me if I should build this or not. Yeah.
Okay.
So
And do you have a flyer or brochure kind of a thing for the cohort that you are putting together?
yeah, sure. Wait, let me share this link here. It's now in the chat too. Here you go. This is the overview on the 9 weeks, and shoot me messages, ask me questions if there's something more to clarify. So, yeah.
I'll do that. Yeah, so that's it from my end, Sebastian, and it was really nice meeting you.
For me too.
I had taken a break for a while from LinkedIn because of which I missed what's the latest thing that you are building. And once since I'm back on LinkedIn, this is the first thing that popped up in my feed. And that's how, yeah. So there was a little bit of gap also in my understanding about what you were doing earlier. And if I understand it correctly, earlier you are into organizing information and how to creatively use it. But now you have added the AI layer into it, right?
Yeah.
It was a different system. Now you're very prominently using AI into getting.
Because both amplify each other. So if I have
Yeah.
my information organized, I can work with AI on a completely different level, but I can also create the flywheel that I use the output from my AI to then also organize my knowledge better, extend what I learned, explore my thinking in a different way, right? So you really have this flywheel back and forth that gets better over time. And this is what the system actually is about. Yeah. But nicely observed that it extends also now with the assistants. It's completely new dimensions, maybe later on agents, but I'm not yet there. And I take people on this journey because if you do, this is such a game changer in the way how you can work with information and move things forward.